Engaging the community since 1970. This is WIS Awareness.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us for WIS Awareness. I'm your host, Leland Pender, and today I'm joined by Anita Dantzler of the South Carolina Human Affairs Commission. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning to you, Anita. So when you experience any issues concerning housing, particularly discrimination possibly, do you know where to go or who to call? Well, more often than not, that call should be made to the South Carolina Human Affairs Commission, and that agency can help you do a lot in those instances. So to begin, Anita, tell me more about exactly what you all do at the agency and how you're able to help people get through these situations.
Well, at the Human Affairs Commission, we take in calls of complaints of discrimination from citizens across the state. What we are mandated to do as part of our mission is to eliminate and prevent unlawful discrimination in employment and housing. Those are the types of instances that we can investigate those cases and possibly take it to court if we don't get a conciliation between parties. So we urge people that if they believe they've been discriminated against, to please give us a call at the Human Affairs Commission.
What's the volume like of the inquiries you guys receive? Is it more than people would think, or maybe not a big of an issue?
Yeah, it's much more than people think. Yes, we receive hundreds of calls each month, and we settle thousands of cases each year. So it's a big problem, and we urge people to continue to call us. We are a small state agency, but we are here to do the work for the citizens of the state and help them get a resolution to their problem.
And talk about that. You are a state agency, you know, within the state of South Carolina. What comes with that? Of course, a lot of state agencies kind of work with little staff and resources sometimes, but what's it like at your operation? Well,
because we are an agency of less than 50 people, but we cover all 46 counties of the state, it's a big job. Yeah. So there are a lot of investigators who are you know, their desks are filled with cases. And so we tell our citizens that call in, just give us enough time to get through all of the questions that we have to ask the respondents, and so that we can gather all of the information and hopefully work out a resolution for you. The work that we do at a state agency for the citizens of the state is free. So before you contact an attorney, please call us, because our investigators will work for you for free. Our attorneys will take the case to court if need be for free. Wow. So please call us. Call us.
That's really important. A lot of times people end up not getting help because they don't have the money and also don't know where to go.
Yes.
And that takes care of both of those things right there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. So recently we aired a story on WIS about a woman who was struggling with some housing issues, and that set off a light bulb for you.
Yes.
Tell us what it was about that story before we kind of recap it.
Yeah. We, when I saw that story, I said, oh my goodness, you know, I wonder if she's called into our office and talked to some of our intake officers, because we possibly could have assisted her if this was truly a case of discrimination. Now, we don't know if it was or not, because I've only seen the story on the news, but if it was a case of discrimination that she suffered, then certainly we invite her to please call us and talk to one of our intake officers who can go through that process with her to see, is this going to be a case that we can handle? Okay, so let's take a look at what the situation was here. A woman who lives in Columbia, she'd been living in an apartment with a leaking roof for months, she says, and now it's infested with mold, according to her. This woman, Catherine Kalaplastis, has lived in that Springtree apartment on Parkland Road for about 6 years, and she rents it through a local mental illness recovery center in Columbia. The woman says about 4 months ago, she notified someone about the mold and the leak in the ceiling, but nothing was done over all that time. And she also said a doctor had told her that the mold exposure was medically hazardous for her. You're seeing some video of what her apartment looked like. Now, the organization, she says, was supposed to move her into a new apartment, but at the time of the interview, her family said that still had not happened. And the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs, another separate state agency, they want to remind people, if
if you have a problem at your apartment or your house, by law, you first have to notify the landlord in writing. The landlord at that point has 14 days to fix the problem, and then the tenant can move out and stop paying rent if the lease is not up. Now, very important to note, though, the notice has to say that the tenant is going to terminate that lease and move out if the problem or problems are not fixed. So definitely some guidelines you have to go by, things you have to adhere to. So again, we don't know if that case was a case of discrimination.
Right.
We don't know that.
We don't know yet.
But just when you saw it, the light bulb went off for you, and possibly there's something you all could have done for her. Do you think people out there, there's enough information, people know about you and know what you do?
Right. We are working steadily each day to try to get the message out there about the work that we do. The work that we do that can help the citizens of the state if they face claims of discrimination. So we invite people to go to our website, take a look at all of the information that we have out there, see if that's something that matches what you've gone through, an experience you may have gone through, and then give us a call, because even though you may not think it is a case of unlawful discrimination, our intake officers will talk with you and to kind of figure out, okay, is this a case we can take on or not? And so that's why it's so important for folks just to give us a call. We don't mind the phone calls, asking questions, you know, tell us about the incident that happened. You know, we've had folks who've told us that, well, I went to rent an apartment, and because I have children, they said, oh, well, I have to live in this building, not this building. Can't say that.
Sounds a little funny.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yes.
You might be told something that just doesn't quite sound right to you, but you're not sure what to do with that. And you either move along in the process by that person's standards and guidelines they've set, or you back away and nothing happens. So sometimes if something seems a little weird, it probably is.
It probably is. Yes.
So it's best to just kind of, you know, take that and look at your resources and options. All right, Anita, thanks so much. A quick break here. We're going to talk more in the next segment about kind of that gray area, though, because sometimes you might feel a certain way, but nothing's happened at all, or something has happened and you have no clue. All right, so right back here in a few minutes on WIS News 10 Awareness.
What do you mean it isn't covered? The other car was at fault.
Don't scream. Call Akeem. The jury gave us a $2.4 million verdict for our client who was injured in a car wreck. Don't wait. Dial all twos now.
To get your attorney, dial all twos now.
Wouldn't it be nice if things were this easy? With the new Savers menu at McDonald's, they are. Simply choose from the McDouble, McChicken, small fries, or 4-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for $1. Easy. Only at McDonald's.
I called Shelly Leak, and she got me $30,000.
$65,000. That's what Shelly Leak got me.
Injured in a car wreck? Do what your friends, family, and neighbors have been doing for years. Call 803-567-5000 or go to callshellynow.com.
I was hurt bad. Shelly Leak got me $200,000.
You've been hurt in a car wreck? Call me now. 803-567-5000 or callshellynow.com.
We are South Carolina asphalt workers, and we love what we do. We used to be where you are. We used to be stuck, not knowing what the future holds. The way we look at it now, we are proud of what we do. There is so much room to grow. We're a family. We're paving the way for our future. Right now, there are jobs available where you live. Get on the road to a better you.
At Kroger, we've got more ways to save on all the fresh foods you truly crave.
No, it's just the way that we do.
Great sales, digital coupons, and fuel points that really add up.
Just the way that we do.
At Kroger, saving is easy.
Welcome back this morning to Awareness on this Sunday. And right now, Anita and we are joined by Human Affairs Commission staff attorney Alex Pate, who handles the Commission's fair housing cases for the most part. Welcome, Alex.
Good morning.
Good to have you here. So it seems like you all possibly could have helped that woman in that story we were just talking about in the last segment. Alex, from the standpoint of the law, what you know about that case, do you think that rose to the level of discrimination or maybe not?
We would need a little bit of additional information there to really make that determination. And the thing we would be looking at is whether or not the resident has a disability that is impacted by the mold. And if that's the case, then they would want to request an accommodation to have the mold removed. And if there was a refusal by the landlord to remove the mold, that could be a fair housing violation.
Okay. And discrimination is such a strong word, and then you say fair housing violation. How do you reconcile those two things, or are they the same?
They're exactly the same.
Okay.
A violation of the Fair Housing Act is discrimination. The Fair Housing Act and the South Carolina Fair Housing Law are civil rights laws, just like the Title VII in the employment context. And so a violation of either of those statutes is a discriminatory act.
Right. So how do you know when you've been discriminated against? I mean, it's easy to get emotional and feel a certain way and interpret certain actions a certain way. But how do you know if that's truly what's happened to you in any situation?
A lot of times you don't. We get people who feel that they've been wronged somehow, and sometimes it's discrimination, unlawful discrimination under the statute, and sometimes it's not. The big thing we're looking at is whether the act that they've experienced was based on one of the what we call protected bases. So things like race, religion, color, sex, national origin, disability, or familial status. Those are the protected bases in the fair housing law. And so if the action that you've experienced, if your landlord or the lender or whoever it is that's involved in the housing transaction has done something to you, and it was on one of those bases, that's when we would become involved and look to see a little closer if there was a violation.
If you can speak to some examples, possibly. You guys deal mostly in housing and employment. Just what's some of the stuff you've seen that's probably pretty common that a lot of folks might be dealing with as well?
Sure thing. So for familial status, a lot of times we'll see where it's called a practice called steering, where a landlord or a housing manager will say, okay, well, you might be better off in this building because there's other families there because they want to keep a separate building quiet, or you might be better off in this neighborhood. You might feel more comfortable there in a racial context to a black family saying, oh, you might be a better fit over here. The most common cause cases we end up taking are disability-based, though, and that's something that Housing and Urban Development and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, both of their numbers reflect the same things that ours do, that's the fastest-growing category of discrimination.
And why do you think that is?
A lot of potential factors. I think a large part of that is a growing awareness of what constitutes a disability. The statute was amended to expand the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, was expanded to, or modified to expand the definition of disability and make it a little clearer what exactly that constitutes. Another part of that might be just a aging population. As the baby boomers continue to age and retire, see an increase in the number of age-related disabilities. And so that's one of the things that we're seeing a lot of.
Interesting. Okay, so going back a few seconds, you talked about how if you have kids or something, a potential landlord might say, you'll be better in this building over here. Honestly, if someone said that to me, I probably wouldn't think twice and think I was being discriminated against. And I think that's how most people would perceive that. But you can't do that as a landlord in that situation.
That's correct.
Not supposed to, anyway.
Not supposed to. It certainly happens. So that became a large issue in the 60s and 70s, where you would have realtors or property managers steering people towards a particular location, particular part of town, or a particular building or floor even in a building. And so that was part of what that was designed to do. The Fair Housing Act and the South Carolina Fair Housing Law was to eliminate that sort of discrimination, because people should feel free to live where they want to live.
Sure. That's so fascinating, and of course that definitely still happens today. I'm just thinking of some stories I've heard recently where someone wasn't particularly discriminated against, but it was a joke between groups that would adversely affect someone else who was not in this situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's amazing how that still happens today. And people laugh it off. It's really unfortunate, actually. All right, so when people do reach out to you with a claim of discrimination or a fair housing violation, what is the process? How do you go about investigating that, and what steps are involved?
So Anita mentioned earlier contacting our intake division. They would speak to whoever the caller is, find out whether or not the facts that they're alleging support a claim of discrimination. Once that's done, they would fill out what's called a charge form, and they'd sign and return that to us, and that is just a brief statement of the allegations. That's sent to whoever the housing provider is, the respondent housing provider, and they would have an opportunity to respond to that. And then it's handed off to an investigator, one of our housing investigators, who would have an opportunity to contact witnesses, do on-site visits to look at the property. The commission can issue subpoenas to get documents if they need those. Once the investigators completed their investigation, they think they have enough information to make a determination one way or the other. That's submitted to their supervisor. And then after the supervisor's reviewed it, it's submitted to one of the attorneys, and then finally goes to our commissioner, who finally signs off one way or the other, saying, yes, we think discrimination occurred, or no, discrimination did not occur. Okay, so I want to get you back in here, Anita. What if you guys get to a place where you do your investigation and you decide we can't help this person? What happens then?
Well, we notify them, of course. Throughout the process, we're talking with the person that has made the complaint. But if we come to a point where we cannot get a resolution, then we contact them to let them know you do still have the option to contact an attorney. So we want to let folks know that you don't have to figure out whether or not, you've been discriminated against. If you believe that something has happened a little strange, and you want to talk to someone, you can call us. We are the ones that will help you to figure out whether or not this is truly a case of discrimination that we can handle at our agency. Right. So that's why we, just encourage people, that if you believe it, you believe you've been discriminated against, call us. Yeah. Yeah.
Last question here for this segment. A lot of people sometimes in these situations, of course, anyone can be discriminated against, no matter where you're from or how much money you do or don't have, etc. But sometimes people are afraid of retaliation. And do you run into that and they don't speak up for that reason, or what can you say about that? Yeah, so that's, in addition to the protected bases, retaliation is a prohibited action under the Fair Housing Law. And so one of the first things we tell a witness that we're talking to, or somebody who files a complaint with us, is that they're protected from retaliation under the statute. And we do have people who are concerned about that, that don't want to speak up, and so our investigators will sometimes engage with witnesses and let them know that they can speak to us anonymously, and that even if they want to speak to us, on the record, their name's out there, that they're protected from retaliation. If a landlord evicted them or raised their rent or did something to them because they helped somebody else's investigation, that they would have a separate charge they could file with us. That's good to know, because that's also very common. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Alex and Anita. Another quick break this morning on awareness. We'll be right back.
At George Sink Injury Lawyers, we're thankful for our clients. And we'd like to think they're thankful for us, too.
Thank you, George Sink.
Thank you, George Sink.
I am so glad I called George Sink.
If you've been hurt, call all nines. We thank you for allowing us to serve you.
Because 4 in 5 heroin users started with prescription opioids. Because every 7 seconds, another painkiller prescription is filled in South Carolina. And because it can take just 3 days to become dependent. Ask whether you really need opioids for pain. Don't let painkillers be just plain killers.
They're okay, but not everyone is so lucky. If you've been injured in a car accident, call Hawk Law today.
Make the call, 888-HAWK-LAW.
The world is changing at a rate like never before. So, why isn't education? Raise your hand if you could use an education that's actually modern, actually affordable, and actually personal. If you're one of the 35 million Americans who hasn't finished your degree, well, Strayer's here to help. Welcome to the future of education.
Hey, shrimp lovers. Captain D's Ultimate Shrimp Feast is here. It's our new extra crispy shrimp, grilled shrimp, and all kinds of tasty shrimp. Did we mention shrimp? It's shrimply amazing when the captain is gone. Captain D's.
On the weekends, we spend time with our friends and family. Sometimes, bad things happen to good people. And at George Sink Injury Lawyers, we know that accidents can happen anytime. That's why we're here to take your call every day. Nights, weekends, 24/7. If you're hurt, call all 9.
All right, welcome back this morning to Awareness. I want to ask you, Alex, a lot of times when you have these instances of discrimination that people might not even recognize, is that perceived sometimes as them thinking that person's actually being helpful to them? Is that easily misconstrued?
Oh, certainly. Sometimes you'll have people, benign discrimination, where somebody with a disability may be offered or steered towards a first floor unit, even though they don't have any mobility issues. They want to live, on the 5th floor, the penthouse. So sometimes people aren't even aware that they're being discriminated against, but that sort of practice is still illegal.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. You guys have a lot of information on your website. And also, by the way, if you want to reach out to the Human Affairs Commission, here's how you can do that. You can call them, email them, or send them a visit.
That's right.
At their
That's
office
right.
downtown on Sumter Street. Pop up that graphic if you don't mind. They are located, again, on Sumter Street. Well, that's the website. There should be another graphic in there. There it is, 1026 Sumter Street in Columbia, 803-737-7800 or 800-521-0725. You can email them at information@schac.sc.us or go to their website, schac.sc.gov. And there's the website. Now let's talk about this, because you have a lot of information there as well that can be very helpful to people in this initial process, perhaps if they don't want to call you right away.
True.
What can you do there?
Well, a lot of folks will go to our website first and try to figure out, I think I might fit here, or maybe I fit here. And that's fine. You can go there and look at all the information that we have out there. We even have the questionnaires out there that our intake officers could mail to you or email you. We have those questionnaires right there in a form that you can click on and fill out and send right to us. So we tell folks all the time, certainly look at our website, research things. You may see where, well, maybe this was an employment discrimination case, and I should call about this. We have examples on the site to kind of let people know, hey, maybe this happened to you. So, give us a call, and we can talk with you to find out if this is something that we can certainly help you with.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone watching this morning is listening and thinks, oh, I think I might have been, a victim of this, or this happened to me.
Yeah.
So if you want to reach out, you can do that online or give them a call. Anything else you want to add to the conversation before you wrap up, Alex?
Just to say that definitely feel free to reach out to us. If it's not an issue that our agency can help you with, our intake officers have information that may be able to direct you to another state agency or organization that can assist you. A lot of times we'll send referrals over to the Department of Consumer Affairs if it's a consumer issue, or referral to the South Carolina Bar Referral Service if it's an issue that a private attorney would be of assistance with.
Real quickly, last question here, about 30 or 40 seconds. You mentioned the Consumer Affairs Department. Any other partners in the state or community you work with on these issues?
Lots.
Yeah, lots.
Okay.
Lots.
Give us a quick list. You got 20 seconds.
So ABLE is a disability advocacy group that we work with. The Commission on Aging, Commission for the Blind.
Consumer Affairs, of course. Wow, there's so many.
Was that a dumb question? There are dumb questions.
No, there are a lot of people who make our jobs easier and refer people to us, and we can also refer them back. So give us a call if you have a question about it, and we'll get you in the right place.
Okay, I apologize for that. I do believe in dumb questions. That might have been one. A lot of help out there for people who need it.
Yes.
Okay,
There's no dumb question.
Another quick break. We'll be right back.
Battery power, made by steel. One battery, multiple tools. Right now, get a battery trimmer or battery blower at just $199.95. Visit SteelDealers.com.
Yes, you can. You can earn your high school diploma from Penn Foster.
This was a second chance to come in and be able to achieve my goal, something I've always dreamed of.
At regionally and nationally accredited Penn Foster High School, you study online, on your time, at your pace.
The instructors are just amazing. I would definitely recommend the program.
And Penn Foster High School has flexible and affordable payment plans that can be customized to your needs.
Being able to get my education and still pay my bills is the best thing.
You can succeed. You can open new doors. You can graduate high school with Penn Foster.
It's never too late. I am 36 years old, and I've obtained my high school diploma. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
It's possible. You can be the next graduate.
And you can earn your high school diploma while taking courses to prepare you for the career of your choice.
Go to PennFosterHighSchool.com or call 1-800-572-1680.
Government buy-in for all the people, not just the powerful and well-connected. That's the American promise. But big corporations and special interests are in control. Nothing's happening for real people. Our democracy has been purchased. The candidates running for president have great ideas, but we can't get anything done unless we make our democracy serve the people again. I'm Tom Steyer. I approve this message. I'm running for president because it's time our democracy works for people.
Once again, thank you to Anita Dantzler and Alex Pate from the South Carolina Human Affairs Commission. Again, if you saw something today that might have looked or sounded familiar and you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to the South Carolina Human Affairs Commission. Here's their contact info on your screen. You can visit them in their office Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5. Give them a call, local number or their 800 number. Again, there's their email there and their website. They are standing by to help you with many partners in the community. Thanks for watching. That's our show this Sunday for Awareness. We will see you next week. I'm Leland Pender.
Car wreck? Need your check? Don't know what to do?
Dial all twos.